Our next speaker is on drones, how drones are being used on golf courses to save water and use it as efficiently as possible. Not very big, something we could use in our golf courses. So next up is Scott Jones, and take it away.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's one of our little smallest units. We have them all the way up to 12-foot wingspans. I've learned a lot of things today. First of all, vote for Rory. Second of all, don't admit you're from California. Water is an issue. I've been in the golf business for 35 years. I've built them, managed them, owned them, paid the water bills on a couple of courses, and it's always going to be an issue. And I think that what we're addressing today and forever needs to be, how do we prove what we do on our golf courses for the use of water and that we're using it properly and efficiently. So to that, one of the things that I've been working with for the last 8 years, I've been down in South America working with golf courses, other agronomic groups. I'm going to just tell it right out, right? I work for the DEA and for the government. We were overseeing some of the cocaine field reductions with drones. We got into the golf course world, we got into oil and gas doing environmental work, and the government said, hey, why you got that drone up in the air? We're reducing the number of cocaine acreage. Would you take a flight at it? I said, yeah, one flight, then I moved to Arizona. I said, I'm out of here. I don't need to be chased by the cocaine people. One of the things that's important, unmanned vehicles, nothing's going to replace the eyes, the knowledge, and the experience that the golf course superintendent, his assistants, his arborist, his agronomic person, nothing's going to replace that knowledge. You know your water, you know your soils, you know your golf course, you know your fertigation program, your fertilization program, you know it all. But can you get there to see it all as quickly and efficiently as you want to? One of the things that UAVs are doing more and more is providing that ability, that access to get through your course. I flew Mountain Brook. I don't know if anybody knows that Mountain Brook just sold. TMT Golf just bought it. They asked me to come out and fly their 18 holes to see what they're doing to get some of their areas and square footage. I flew it 3 days, a nominal fee of $4,500, and the information that they've got coming to them, they're overwhelmed. It's helping them not only with the current size of all their golf courses so that they can manage their water better, their fertilizers, their pesticides, and also how their course conditions are. Of course, one of the things I just pointed out is accurately measuring your course. Those features, tees, greens, bunkers, all the aprons and fairways, out of play areas. We can all go out there and we can do our old school measuring and take measure. We can do a geoterrestrial, we can call in a GPS company. We can fly a course, anybody can fly a course. I don't care if you hire somebody from us or from another company, or you buy your own drones and start training legally with the Flight 107 FAA license. But you guys need to think about using the drones for one thing, certification. If what everybody said this morning about our water issues, one of the critical key things that we're going to have to do in the golf world is document how we use water, not just in gallons or acreage feet, but specifically how we use water in specific areas of the golf course. This happened to be a job that I was on in South America. That was a golf course we were renovating, 75-year-old golf course in Bogota. Anybody talks about El Nino and La Nina, that was 2009, 2010, and 2011 in Mexico and South America. We had 243 inches of water. There was no shortage. We were building it one day and rebuilding it the next. So just a little bit of idea of what goes on. In becoming a water conservation champion, this is what I'm talking about. If what the congressman says and what everybody else, Chuck said the same thing, our water is an issue, but we need to know at the golf course level, how are we using that water? And again, I repeat, if we notify our greens people, our greens committees, if we notify our water districts with specific documentation that says we're using thermal work, we're using hyperspectral sensing and determining all of the parts of our golf course that have yellowing, light browning, moderate browning, severe browning, and high flourishing, they're going to look at us like we are super, super into protecting our water. And that's what I'm saying now. You don't have to be an expert at it today, but we should start developing these practices and including them in our budgets to propose that we have water management through UAVs, through thermal investigation, through ground penetration, All of that can be done in today's market and very cost effectively. That's the point. Aerial imagery into actionable data. The other point, if you have an issue on your golf course, whether it's a dry spot, a moderate spot, yeah, you've got some of the most sophisticated irrigation controller systems out there today. I've been through this for 35 years with all of you. What we saw in the 80s is so much different than what we see today. But are we utilizing that information? We can now connect to a lot of the controller systems. We're working with a couple of the major manufacturers. I don't know if everybody knows, but Toro just dumped $10 million into a company called GreenSight. The GreenSight program is a golf course monitoring on a daily basis or weekly basis, but it's an incredible direction that we're taking, the combination of working with irrigation companies. I've been working with Hunter for the last 5 years. And in the last 4 months, we've had some success working on some of the new things with Rainbird. So we're progressing with the information that we capture from the golf course and working with not only golf course superintendents, golf course architects during remodels, but the irrigation consultants as well. Grading comparisons, high resolution, plant stress analysis, detection of those areas. This is part of it. This game that I just did with the Mountain Brook Golf Club, I can't share the results. I haven't shared it with the owners yet, but incredible. They've had some really harsh transition seasons. They've had some really harsh times without money to take care of pesticides and herbicides. But these are the types of things that help us with managing our water, managing our turf better. And not only that, they can report back to you, the superintendent, to your assistants, to your Greens committee member, your general manager, via the iCloud and through any other cloud, all that actionable information. So if you've got a bad spot, an overwatering issue, it'll detect it, it'll report it, and you can get on it even faster than if you just said, I'm going to go out and drive the course today. You might think about it as, well, I need to get out and see the course. You absolutely do. Take a look at that and the results of your drone flight. And then, of course, tracking by progress by location, tracking specific turf problems such as yellowing and browning spots, potential overwatered areas. Again, it's documentation. And I think the point that we're all going to learn is when somebody says, well, we're going to cut your water back by X number of acre feet a year, and you say, well, we can't possibly do that, they're going to say, okay, well, show us how you know that. Show us the support, the documentation to that. And we believe, by using some of this information that we're gathering from the drone world, that that'll get sufficient documentation and registrations for y'all. Detailed reports analyzing turf health. Everybody gets those from your own soils people, your own fertilizer people. But one more step is, what does it look like on the ground at the real level? Again, these are just some information background of what you get in that report. I think that the entire synopsis is, today is technology, tomorrow is going to be more technology. If you're not utilizing it, don't be afraid of it. It's not that expensive. Everybody says, oh my God, I got to go out and buy a drone, I got to get somebody hired. You should. You should. You should have them licensed, you should have them insured, they should have a golf course drone and a drone pilot, maybe one or two, and until then, hire a drone company, get some of this stuff on the registry, get it in your books. What are your specific areas of problems and how are you going to manage that? Because when you need to prove your water usage, you're going to need that. I have a lot more things to say, but I only had 15 minutes and I want to give anybody a chance to talk if they want to ask questions about any part of the drone world or working around your club or working around your HOA. Let me know. Questions?
How much did you follow up on your drone redoing it? You do it once and then you come back and do it again? How?
It's a good question, and I mean, we're talking $4,000 for an entire 18-hole golf course. If it's every quarter, it would be great. If it's every transition season, that would be what you probably want to do, once or twice a year. Twice a year, to start off. I think we prefer, if you're looking at it as a real deal, then it's once a month, maybe once every 2 months. But it depends on you, and there's altering programs for the size and type of information you're looking for. Thermal work is a lot cheaper than some of the other work. So my point would be, probably the best would be at least twice a year, and maybe right before transition and right after, just to see what your soils and your water do. And incidentally, for those of you that have homes around your golf courses, it is not illegal. You can have a drone company. We don't loiter. Loitering is when you hover over the top of a specific location and photograph or loiter and linger. And that's against the law. You can't do that with a drone. You can fly through on a pre-programmed autonomous flight, But if somebody's out hovering over the top of somebody's backyard on your golf course or near your golf course, they're absolutely not doing their job and it's absolutely illegal. But if the homeowner comes out and says, you can't fly over my house, yes, you can. We just can't stop and loiter. Yes, sir.
We use Green Sight.
Yep.
On the course, it takes about 30 minutes to fly in the mornings. The hard part's getting the information downloaded. So we actually found out it's better to go twice a week, to pick up on the stuff. But how far do you think you're going to get this technology in the next couple of years? Do you think it can be spontaneous?
Yeah, good answer, good question. The answer to that is the fact that you're using it, that's awesome. And I think the technology is improving daily. We're looking at it like, there's things that we read, my associate Ken Jacoby and I, we spend more time getting caught up on the technology. It's getting better and faster information. The downloading is always going to be an issue because of the amount of data that comes out of it. So what we're preferring to do with our superintendents is take that actionable data and reducing it to the real significant scalable 1 to 5, how that fits in the scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. And that gets it down to something that is manageable. But the answer to your real question, someday in the next 1 year, 2 years, we're going to be looking at irrigation control systems that the drone will fly over the control system, fly through the area of a golf hole, and it will be picking up sensors off of the individual golf heads, because there's going to be that kind of information Bluetooth sensed and given, so your surrounding area will know exactly what that soil is and what your penetration and what your actual water and moisture sense is. Is that close to what you're, yep?
I believe it's coming.
It's here, and it's just a matter of the fact. I have 6 or 7 friends and associates that we fly with in other states from the military. Younger guys that just got out of the military 7, 8 years ago and are now in the drone business. And the first thing they told me was, if you can think it, it's already here. We're just not getting it accessible in the public market. The military's been doing it forever. They've been looking at things overseas and in other areas with drones forever, including the agricultural market, including the cocaine market down in Colombia, who, by the way, was even more sophisticated with $1 million drones, but they couldn't get down low enough like we could with our smaller stuff to get the information. So it's technology's changing every day. Any other questions? Yes, sir?
Just a quick generic question. I was amazed when you handed me that drone how heavy it was. But how long could that thing fly?
That's a 20-minute flight. We have them that fly up to an hour. We have fixed wings that fly up to a couple days. Depends on what you're doing. Everything's there. We have flights, normal flights between 30 and 40 minutes for an average. Most of our stuff, because of the weather, the heat lowers the battery. We're down to 20 to 30 minutes, but we can cover quite a bit of acreage. Our fixed wings, we use both vertical landing and takeoff, and we use fixed wings for longer distance. Golf courses with a lot of heavy vegetation, we'll even suggest LiDAR, which we have now brought that back to what you were talking about. The technology with LiDAR is even much greater, and it's now cheaper now than it ever has been. I just did a golf course for $14,000, and they knew the caliper of the trees at the breast height. They knew every single condition of the crown, and it was just from single flights, but it had every single bit of topography down to 2 to 3 centimeter accuracy. So imagine when the golf course architects gets a hold of that on a remodel, and they're looking at drainage, and they're looking at irrigation, pretty significant, but typically, it's about any type of equipment, any type of sensor, any type of information, it's out there, and it's not as expensive as it seems. And the golf course world is changing daily. Any other questions? Good, thank you very much.